The sandwich looks too simple to have a strange story. It is just bread, something tasty in the middle, and more bread on top. That is it. You can hold it in one hand. You can put it in a lunchbox. You can eat it at school, at work, in a park, or on a train. But this everyday food has a much bigger story than it seems. Because the sandwich is not only food, it is a clever little answer to a very old problem. How do you eat without a plate? How do you carry a meal without spilling it? How do you keep your hands cleaner while you eat? For a long time, people had this same problem. Food could be hot, wet, greasy, or messy. But bread was different. Bread was soft enough to bite, but strong enough to hold food. So people began using bread in smart ways. Sometimes bread was like a plate. In medieval Europe, people used thick pieces of bread called trenchers. A trencher was bread, but it worked like a plate. Food sat on top of it. The bread caught the juices. That may sound strange today, but it made sense. The bread caught the mess and helped you eat. In other places, people used flatbread in another smart way. They wrapped food inside it. A piece of flatbread could fold around meat, herbs, cheese, beans, or vegetables. Suddenly, the food was easier to carry and easier to eat with your hands. So before the sandwich had its name, the idea was already alive. Bread could be a plate, a wrapper, and a handle. And that handle changed everything. Think about a piece of meat on its own. It can be slippery. It can fall apart. Now put bread around it. The bread holds it still. Your fingers touch the bread, not the filling. You do not need a fork or a plate. That is the secret of the sandwich. It turns food into something you can carry. This is why the sandwich became so powerful. Not because it was fancy, because it was useful. And useful things travel fast. As towns grew into busy cities, people had less time to stop. Workers, travelers, and children all needed food they could carry. The sandwich was perfect for that. It could be made at home, sold in a shop, wrapped in paper, and eaten quickly. And it could change again and again. If you had cheese, meat, eggs, vegetables, jam, or peanut butter, the bread was ready. The sandwich did not ask for one exact recipe. It asked one simple question. What do you have? Put it between bread. That made the sandwich one of the most flexible foods in the world. There was one more big change. Sliced bread. Today, sliced bread feels normal. You open a bag, take 2 slices, and make lunch in a minute. But for most of history, bread did not arrive like that. People cut it themselves. Some slices were thick, some were thin, and some were crooked. Then machines began cutting bread into neat slices before people bought it. In 1928, Otto Frederick Rohwedder's bread slicing machine helped make sliced bread part of everyday life. That made sandwiches even easier. No careful cutting, no uneven pieces. Just 2 ready slices waiting for a filling. This changed kitchens, lunchboxes, and busy mornings before school and work. Bread. Filling. Bread. Done. And because the idea was so simple, every place could make its own version. Some sandwiches are toasted, some are cold, some are tiny, some are huge. Some are sweet, some are spicy. The sandwich became a food shape that could travel around the world. But now comes the strange part. If people were using bread to hold food for so long, why do we call it a sandwich? For that, we go to 18th century London. Imagine a busy room, cards on a table, men talking, a long night that does not want to end. One man wants food, but he does not want to leave the table. His name is John Montagu. He is the 4th Earl of Sandwich. So cold meat is placed between pieces of bread. It is easy to hold, and it lets the game keep going. And soon, other people want the same thing. They ask for what sandwich is having. The name sticks. That is the twist. The Earl of Sandwich did not create the whole idea from nothing. People had been using bread this way for a very long time. But now comes the strange part. If people were using bread to hold food for so long, why do we call it a sandwich? For that, we go to 18th century London. Imagine a busy room, cards on a table, men talking, a long night that does not want to end. One man wants food, but he does not want to leave the table. His name is John Montagu. He is the 4th Earl of Sandwich. So cold meat is placed between pieces of bread. It is easy to hold, and it lets the game keep going. And soon, other people want the same thing. They ask for what sandwich is having. The name sticks. That is the twist. The Earl of Sandwich did not create the whole idea from nothing. People had been using bread this way for a very long time. but his name became attached to the food. And once a name sticks, it can travel farther than the person who started it. So the sandwich is not really the story of one man making lunch. It is the story of a simple idea becoming so useful that the whole world keeps using it. Bread became a plate, a wrapper, and a handle. Then bread became one of the easiest meals on earth. The next time you hold a sandwich, look at it for a second. It is not just lunch. It is a tiny invention you can eat. Some inventions need wheels, wires, or engines, but this one only needed 2 pieces of